This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and it is a lovely Thursday here in Pittsburgh. Actually, for the Steelers, today is Wednesday.
Right.
Because, well, they just had to put out their first practice report because they play Monday night, so everything kind of gets pushed.
An extra day?
Yeah, you get the extra day in there. Wednesday's practice is kind of a bonus deal.
I always love the Monday night going into a bye because you get an extra day on the front end.
I do not.
Why is that? For
Because,
your schedule?
Well, with the way that the NFLPA now sets this up, you have to have 4 off days in a row on the bye.
Right.
So what the Steelers used to do when they had a normal Sunday game on a bye was they would practice Tuesday and Wednesday.
Let them go for the weekend.
And then let them go for the weekend. And those Tuesday, Wednesday practices would be for all the young guys who haven't played a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Like that was like our bowl game practices.
Yeah, kind of what it was.
Right.
In this situation, because it's a Monday night game, they can't really practice on Tuesday. That's not going to happen. So they get one practice day. So yesterday's practice was really the bonus day.
Yes. I just like it from a rest perspective for the team. Is you get the extra day to prepare, and then you lose one on the back end, but who cares?
You're getting extra days one way or the other.
I hear you.
You know, 6 one way, half dozen the other. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, speaking of today being a Thursday, a Wednesday on a Thursday, the Steelers put out their first practice report, as did the Giants. Roman Wilson did not participate in practice today with that hamstring injury, and I get so many questions about Roman Wilson and what's going on with this.
Should go down that road.
Mike Tomlin has never, in his history as head coach, played a rookie who missed practice time during the week of a game.
Yeah, okay. I mean, even deep in the season, if they're starters or
you got to if you're a young guy, even some second-year guys, but if you're a rookie, you've got to get on the practice field. Yeah. You've got to show the coaching staff, the quarterback in this situation, because he's a wide receiver, that you know what you're doing out there. And if you can't do that, you're not going to play.
See, I think a lot of fans were really excited about the draft pick and are frustrated. Hey, maybe you have your receiver answer in-house and you're not giving him a chance. It's not
about not giving him a chance. He missed all of training camp.
Right. So,
and then he didn't practice for the first 3 weeks of the season.
Then he got hurt again. Right. So that's what's not giving him a chance is health. You know, and he didn't practice today. They would have loved for him to practice today.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Right.
DeMonte KZ.
A bye might be good for him.
The bye will be very good for him.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's able to come back after the bye. DeMonte KZ was a full participant in practice with that ankle injury. Deshaun Elliott with a back issue did not practice today. So we'll see where that leads. Dante Jackson with the shoulder, a full participant.
Good. That was a little worrisome on game day.
Tyler Matakevich, they activated his practice window today. He was a limited participant in practice. Nick Herbig did not practice. Zach Frazier did not practice.
It's safe to say those two aren't
those two aren't going to play.
Yeah.
Dylan Cook, whose practice window also is open, was a full participant in practice.
Good. They seem he could be active on game day.
Yeah. Assuming he gets whether they activate him this week or whether they wait. They got 21 days, and they're about a week into that.
But he's not going to go in permanent IR. I mean, window open. Yeah. He's playing.
Cordero Patterson with the ankle injury was a limited participant today. That's trending.
Leaving
in
the light
direction.
on for him, huh?
Keanu Benton has a calf issue. He was a limited participant today. And then Cam Hayward was resting today, so he did not practice.
So no huge news. Herbig and Frazier.
Yeah.
We kind of
knew
from
they
the
weren't going
start.
to play, yeah.
Everything else seems pretty positive, really.
Yeah. Elliott, we'll see where that goes the rest of the week.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
Here's the thing. They practice tomorrow, and then they also practice Saturday.
A real practice.
Practice, not a walkthrough. Yeah. So they get the extra day there. For the Giants, I
haven't seen any of those.
They get some concerns. Guys who did not participate in practice. Defensive back Cordell Flott. He's got a groin.
Yeah, he's pretty much a starter.
Punter Jamie Gillen, left hamstring.
Their special teams isn't very good.
It's not very good. I don't know if they have a punter on their practice squad or if they're going to have to sign somebody if he can't play.
That'll tell us everything we know if they sign someone today or tomorrow or whatever.
Defensive back Trey Hawkins with an ankle. Defensive back Adoree Jackson with a neck. Defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence with a hip.
Wow.
And then linebacker Ty Summers with an ankle.
Okay. I mean, again, they have an extra day, too. I would think you use all the caution in the world on Lawrence. If there's something bugging him at all, I think you'll be okay. But something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know there was any injury designation with him.
Definitely worth watching. Limited participants. Linebacker Brian Burns with a groin/Achilles.
Okay.
Well, your groin and your Achilles aren't anywhere really near each other.
They're
on your leg.
Right,
they're all in the
May
lower
not
part of your
even
body.
Be the same leg.
Right. So he's got a couple of things there that could help with, could hinder his get off a little bit.
Yeah, he's got great get off too. That's the name of his game.
And then wide receiver Bryce Ford Wheaton with an Achilles.
Okay. So Burns and Lawrence are the ones to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, and they might be their two best players. I mean, certainly two of.
In that conversation.
Right.
Yeah. And then wide receiver Jalen Hyatt with a rib injury was a full participant in practice.
I don't think he played last week.
Yeah.
He's their number 4 now.
So
those D linemen.
interesting. Something to keep an eye on there for the Giants. And some things just don't add up to me about their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Dexter Lawrence is their nose tackle.
Yes.
He's very good.
He's very good.
And yet, they give up 5.3 yards per carry between the tackles.
I know. It's bad.
That doesn't add up.
It's really one of the worst run defenses in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, we said that with Dallas. We said that with the Colts. But this one's particularly worrisome. I think a lot of it is just so many splash plays. I mean, a really high percentage of the rushing yards allowed are on long runs. So I think their back 7 is tremendously poor tackling. It is kind of what it sums up to be. And watching them, it kind of adds up. I mean, against Philly in particular, against Barkley in particular. But you're right. You would think a nose in himself doing a really good job would limit the between the tackle stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that doesn't add up all that much. I mean, unless there's a lot of long runs that went through the B gap or, weren't his department,
But you're a guy that demands. I think he's double teamed at like 63% of the time.
For those ESPN rates, he's like number 1.
Yeah,
he is like
which
the
makes
most
sense. He's a nose tackle.
Yeah.
You always double the nose tackle.
Yeah. I mean, Donald was going to be higher than Watt. Like that too. But yeah, he's that dangerous, and they get doubled a lot anyway. So I'm almost positive he's the most doubled defender in all football. Like Burns is a good player, Ojulari's a good player, but they're both a little light in the pants, leaner. Speed guys too. I think you can run at them. I mean, that doesn't account for the between the tackle stuff.
Yeah,
but they're there to rush the passer.
Yeah, there's just because typically if you've got a 3-4 defense, as they do, you got 5 guys on the front line. Mm-hmm. Makes it more difficult. That's why you run a 3-4 defense.
Yeah, right. I mean,
bog up some of those run lanes, and they don't do it.
They don't do it. So. Imagine if they didn't have Lawrence. Like we just talked about him being on the list. I mean, it's not great at all. And I do think some of it also is they're not a real deep defense. They're the youngest defense in the league. I think they have mental errors a lot, both in coverage and gap responsibilities, things like that. And I think they get worn down pretty easy too, just late in games because they're not real deep.
Yeah, it's just something that didn't make sense. And then you look at the other side of it, and they allow a 72.7 completion percentage and 154.4 passer rating on deep balls, which is considered anything beyond 20 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't play the run real well.
Right.
And
but they do rush the passer real well.
And they give up deep passes.
Yeah. I think you would think if you have Dexter Lawrence, you should be able to plug the run.
Yeah.
If you have maybe the best pass rush in the league, you shouldn't allow deep balls. Well,
they do. But they
sure do. Right. Yeah. I think the back 7 is very unreliable. And particularly, I mean, like their best 2, the best 3 defensive backs are all in their rookie year or second year. And they play a ton. Nubin and Phillips. I assume they make mistakes.
I mean, Phillips has been really good.
He has been good. Nubin's been fine.
Yeah.
The corner from Maryland, I just his name, was Banks.
Banks, yeah.
I think I called him Burns. Banks has been good. I mean, his career's going along well. The rest of the group, not so much.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense with this team. And you don't
the Steelers
want
run between the tackles well, and they throw deep well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're built to do those things.
You don't necessarily want your strong safety being your leading tackler. I understand when it happens, if he's a really good strong safety,
Sure,
or if he's a really good safety in general. But you think about a couple of years ago, the Steelers were having some trouble with stopping the run, and Minkah Fitzpatrick was their leading tackler. That's not ideal.
it just shows that your average gain is going to be pretty far downfield.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, rarely is he making plays at the line of scrimmage or 1 yard past the line of scrimmage.
Especially your free safety.
Right. So, no, there's a lot of issues with this team, both sides of the ball. There are some good players. I mean, there's a lot of guys you'd love to have, and there's some building blocks, but there's definitely stuff missing.
The other thing that stands out to me is that if you look at it, their second leading receiver, really, and actually he's their leading receiver, is Wan'Dale Robinson, who is,
he's a good little slot.
Everything's close to the line of scrimmage. He's averaging 7 yards per catch. Somehow they're only completing 64% of their passes to him.
Yeah. I mean, it's
7 yards.
Right. And they're short stuff, and he's good at – he is a true slot machine. I mean, he is I don't know how what his 40 time is. It's not going to be a burner, but he is really, really quick. He's explosive, comes in and out of his breaks well, good lateral agility, not big, not a tackle breaker. But you should have a high completion percentage to him.
It should be like over 70%. Those are basically extended handoffs.
Yeah, they don't use the tight ends at all. They don't run the ball particularly well. It's Nabers and Robinson, and Nabers is really exciting. Robinson should be like your third leading receiver. In a perfect world.
Yeah, ideally. But you look at it, and Daniel Jones is completing 62.5% of his passes. He's thrown 240 balls, and he's targeted Robinson 67 times. He's targeted Tyrone Tracy 17 times, Singletary 12 times. You're looking at about not quite half the passes that you've thrown there to these guys who are – none of them are averaging more than 7.7 yards per catch.
Okay.
They're all easier.
All those guys you mentioned.
Easier throws.
Mm-hmm.
So about half of your throws are going to those guys, and you're still only completing 62.5% of your passes.
Yeah, I mean, you would think Tracy and certainly Robinson, all that stuff's going to be near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. Just looking at it,
he's not. I mean, I think Jones is having his worst year as a pro.
Yeah, I mean, he just is.
Mm-hmm.
He's completing 82.4% of his passes to Tracy and 91.7% to Singletary. He's at 64.2% to Robinson,
which is too low there.
And everybody else, if he's at 62.5%, which is well below average in today's NFL.
Oh yeah,
he's not throwing the ball downfield well.
No, he absolutely is not. He's not making a lot of difficult throws. He's not making a lot of tight window throws. He rarely looks comfortable to me. He takes a lot of punishment, some of it by design, some of it because he doesn't slide and things like that too. And, when Nabers was out, it was worse. And now protection is a huge, huge issue, especially without Thomas. It hasn't been great all year, but without Thomas, the left tackle, it has to be in his head too. After getting sacked 8 times last week, he can't trust anything right now. I mean, I don't think he trusts himself.
Yeah, and last week, Nabers returned.
We know he's starting, right?
Yeah, he's definitely starting. They said that.
Yeah.
Nabers last week had 8 targets, his low since the opener. He had 7 in the opener.
Mm-hmm.
8 targets, 4 catches, 41 yards.
I mean, all these stats reflect what you see on tape is don't let Nabers beat you.
Yeah.
I mean, if they Wan'Dale Robinson you to death, he's still going to have 12 catches for 70 yards.
At some point, somebody's going to have a holding penalty, or Jones is going to overthrow him, or something's going to happen. It's a classic Dick LeBeau type, make them matriculate the ball down the field on 10 or 12 plays.
And if Nabers getting the better of Porter, then help him. Don't let Nabers be explosive.
But I don't see him being able to do that, to dial Nabers up to get him
deep stuff
where he's at his best, because they can't protect.
They can't protect, and the quarterback's not very accurate, and it's a multitude of problems.
Like the left tackle is a problem, but you can't help the left tackle and leave the right tackle, Illuminor, on his own against T.J. Watt. That's just asking for it.
Right. That's the big issue, is when they had Thomas, kind of like No, he's not as good as Trent Williams, but he's Trent Williams and the Pips. It's Armstead and the Pips. You know what I mean? Like, didn't matter who it was. Like, when they played the Bengals, he had Hendrickson every snap. Okay, you win some, you lose some, but we're not helping you. That's why we're paying you the big bucks.
Yeah.
These other four will get help. We'll try to take away their most dangerous dudes, which, of course, would be TJ. And the right guard's not very good either. But now, I'm sure their tight ends will block a lot because they're not very involved in the passing game anyway. But still.
They're going to play 12?
And just keep
because if you're playing 12, then Robinson's not even on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be 7-man protections all day. I mean, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
And then you start blitzing. You know,
I just don't understand with this team, given the way that it's constructed, why they didn't keep Saquon Barkley.
Well, if you watch the Hard Knocks, they kind of explain it away of Runyon the guard and Illuminor the right tackle is where the money went as opposed to Barkley.
I'd still rather have Barkley.
I get it, but their line was like this all last year. So they at least added 2 starters that are below average starters, but they're starters.
As we've seen, Matt, they could have drafted a couple of starters.
Yeah.
Or
even a back.
In this particular draft, and not even in the first round, but they took Nabers, so they're trying to basically replace Saquon Barkley as a big playmaker with Nabers, but you have to be able to block it up.
Oh, I know. I mean,
with Saquon, he was very effective last year with a bad offensive line.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I don't know that I would have invested in him either. Just because at his age, you're not winning the Super Bowl with or without him.
True.
I mean, maybe you could have used the money better than a below-average left guard and right tackle, because Neal's a problem. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that comes back to.
They missed on that one.
Right. I think he was a 6th pick in the draft, and he can't get in the game even when Thomas is out. Like, wow. I mean, maybe he'll be the right tackle. Good luck.
Yeah.
Illuminor's the left, because that makes you worse at 2 spots. You
right.
know what I mean? Like, there's no answer.
Well, they've already said they're not moving Illuminor to left tackle.
Okay. So I'm just thinking about their offseason. If we would have been GMs of the Giants when the 2023 ended, you're stuck with Jones. But they definitely kicked the tires on May and those guys. I mean, they were definitely interested.
In this particular draft, I would have gone offensive line heavy.
Yeah.
Much like the Steelers did. They took 3, and 2 of them are starting. They could be starting all 3 rookie offensive linemen at this point if Fatanu hadn't gotten hurt.
Right. Well, they probably would be. Yeah. I mean, they signed those 2 before
I understand
the draft,
that, but
course.
you know what's coming in the draft.
And I think I would have taken a Chargers-like approach. Worry about weapons later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give
As
me the
you
big
said,
guys.
You're not winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
So if that's the case, then maybe you should have just let all those guys go. Sign just another back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe go sign Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Or he has to want to go there, but
Josh Jacobs. Or,
one of those guys.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't want to pay. What's Saquon making? Like 16?
Probably a little less, but I think he's number 1.
Yeah, he's number 1. Okay, we don't want to pay that, but we'll give this guy.
Give me somebody that'll help the quarterback a little bit too. I mean,
something to help him out.
The thing about Barkley too is he's a good receiver.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean he can get yards on his own.
Yeah.
I mean they just have a multitude of problems. I mean,
and they still could have gotten a veteran guard.
Yeah. I'm sure Runyon's probably $5 million, and he's okay. But the right guard is still a problem. John Michael Schmitz is below average, I would say, but maybe at least he's improving. But you had one strength.
Yeah.
And really,
that's the thing. I mean, if you're going to be in the market for a quarterback in the future, which they are,
it's a bad nest.
Why not build the offensive line now?
Yeah. Because unlike the Steelers, the front office is worried about getting fired, and the head coach is worried about getting fired, and I don't want to build an offensive line for the next
Judy Batista
career.
reported actually yesterday that she talked to I can't remember, John Mayer, I believe, and he said they're not in any kind of trouble. Neither the GM or the head coach are in any kind of trouble. They understand. They're patient.
Won there in a long time. I feel like they haven't won since Parcells.
Well, they made the playoffs 2 years ago, so
and
won a game.
Yeah, okay.
So they're in better shape than the Jets are.
So even when opening day got here and everybody was healthy, the 2 strengths of your offense were Thomas and Nabers. I mean, everything else was maybe it'll get better. It's average. It's below average. It's below average, really. I mean, really, there wasn't much average there. It wasn't garbage, but I think they wanted a lot. I'm not defending them. That's kind of the opposite of what I'm going
the two
for.
games that Nabers missed.
Yeah.
Darius Slayton had 2 good games.
Yeah, like in a Chargers-like fashion.
Did you really need Malik Nabers right now?
You could have taken Alt, right?
Yeah.
Or you could have taken Latham. You could have taken
either
Alt.
one.
Right. He went before any lineman. Yeah. They needed everything. But
I get it.
Yeah. The line's in such bad shape right now, too.
And you're in the same division as Philadelphia. And so you've seen the Eagles build the offensive line and then go get the pieces to put around the quarterback.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind building from here, where they're at. They still need a lot, but at least they have some pieces. But, boy, trying to get in their head of how to fix the offense in one offseason would have been really tough.
I just don't.
I think it'd been probably wrong to get the quarterback.
Yeah,
because it'd been like May and.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they should in an offensive line rich draft.
Yeah.
They should have built that first, and then gone and where because there's been receivers in every draft.
Oh yeah.
And Nabers is good. He's
special,
very good.
Right,
yeah, he's a great player. Is he better than Jamar Chase was a couple years ago? Is he we can go down through the last few drafts and find plenty of good receivers, even great receivers.
Where you could argue another mistake is made though, is they trade that early second for Burns. That's a win now move.
Yeah, for a team that's not ready to win now.
You had Thibodeau and Ojulari.
Yeah.
Ojulari's playing really well. Thibodeau's had a good year. If that could have been a tackle. I mean, that could have been
if
a
Thibodeau
guard.
hadn't gotten hurt. Now they got 3 of those guys. And
right.
What are you doing with them all?
Which is a real lovely thing to have.
Yeah.
I mean, their D-line is the only thing that does well for them at the moment. But trading for Burns that's a good team move.
That could have been
Chiefs should do.
That could have been another offensive lineman.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
That's your starting right guard or a tackle. I mean, there was guys available.
But instead, they chose to go the free. And you never want to buy an offensive line in free agency.
Oh, I know.
It just doesn't work.
And they had to overspend.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good example. Like, again, Illuminor's an okay right tackle. Runyon's an okay guard.
But that's what you're paying for in the open market.
But you're paying them like they're above average.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. And, I mean, a lot of this is hindsight, but, I mean, think of all those receivers that went end of first round, early second. Pearsall, Coleman, Leggett, all those guys. You could have moved up 3 spots and grabbed one of them and had Joe Alt.
Yeah. So
they needed everything, but they're in bad shape now.
Yeah, it's just not to me the smartest way to build this because they couldn't have thought they were going to win this year.
No,
couldn't have.
No, they couldn't have. I'll be honest. There's been very few personnel moves they've made in the last 3 years. I've been put the stamp of approval on.
Yeah,
I mean, giving Jones the contract. Remember how they handled the whole Barkley Jones thing was kind of goofy, and I don't think they've drafted all that well either.
Yeah. So it's
you can see why they're not winning.
Absolutely. I mean, you can go back with any team and look at their drafts and say, well, that's why you're not winning.
Like the Raiders are the
That's why, to me, I don't want to give up a second-round draft pick for a wide receiver right now, especially a 31 or 30-plus-year-old wide receiver.
A third, we can talk. Not anything the first 2 rounds for me.
Think about your last few second-round draft picks. Keanu Benton and Joey Porter Jr., second-round draft picks.
Yep.
Zach Frazier, second-round draft pick. George Pickens, second-round draft pick.
Yeah. They're all more valuable than Kupp.
Yeah.
They are. And especially at their age and their cost and all that stuff, too. Second-round picks are gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, over the last 5 or 6 years, there were some misses in there. If you go back, everybody's, well, what about Lima Swede? Lima Swede was 20 freaking years ago.
Right.
Come on, people.
And you're going to miss on some here.
Yeah.
There. Right, yeah. But no, it's also a great spot to get a guard, a center, a tight end, a not premium position.
Yeah, those kind of
guys,
a linebacker or
right.
whatever you need. Even cornerbacks, fall into that second round and are good.
The best safety in the draft. I mean, things like that too. I
Yeah.
mean, the non-premium positions that are not first rounders are great players.
Yeah, absolutely. But so this Giants team's an interesting watch / dichotomy here. Are they dangerous? Absolutely. When you rush the passer like they rush the passer, yes, they can make bad things happen. You could have a strip sack, fumble, return for a touchdown, and things of that nature.
That's certainly my biggest fear.
Yeah.
Is that D-line takes over and this game's 10-9 in the end and you get a bounce go the wrong way.
Right. Right. But
I can't believe that they're going to put up a lot of points.
They haven't the last 2 games. 10
No.
points in the last 2 games, and they're playing the team that's given up the second fewest points in the league.
Mm-hmm. And they're rudderless at the moment, too. Like, getting them after the Thomas injury is like, ooh, they're very vulnerable.
Absolutely. I agree. So we'll see how this goes. Monday Night Football, the Steelers host the New York Giants. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're expected to be joined by Steelers rookie guard Mason McCormick.
Yeah, good
Another
stuff.
guy that they could have had him, 4th-round guy.
Mm-hmm. Take him in the 3rd. You'd be thrilled if you had him right
Absolutely.
now. Right.
Well, they would have had a higher 4th-round pick than the Steelers. They could have waited, taken him there, but they did not. They decided to go out and pay one in free agency. McCormick's been really good this year.
Yeah, he has.
We'll talk to him when we return. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. We're still awaiting. We're trying to get Mason McCormick on the phone. But while we do that, Matt, let's talk a little offensive line stuff here. And I'm looking at the Pro Football Focus offensive line rankings. And I'm a little surprised by some of these in that.
You mentioned last week's opponent, where they're at. That's the only one I know, and it was a little too high up the board for my liking.
Way too high.
Yeah.
So at 32 are the Patriots. They're bad.
Oh, man. We'll get back to that.
We'll get back to that because, Mason McCormick is on the phone line here, on the Justin Miller phone line. Can you hear us, Mason?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great.
Hey, you're here with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio. We appreciate you calling in. And we're just looking at the Pro Football Focus stuff on offensive lines, and they put out rankings on offensive line play every week. And one of the things that they said here was that rookie right guard Mason McCormick played a nearly perfect game in pass protection last week. Was it perfect for you, or was there still stuff that you want to get better at?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was perfect. I feel like there's still areas to improve and, keep getting better, and that's what I'm striving to do every week.
What has been the most difficult adjustment for you? I mean, you've come from a somewhat smaller school, played a lot in the preseason, were impressive there, and then unfortunately James got hurt, and you got thrust in the right guard spot and doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the speed of the game coming from FCS is a little bit different, but confident in myself and my abilities, and I feel like I've been growing every week, and I'm just going to keep getting better week in and week out.
You started 57 consecutive games in college. There had to be at some point some kind of injury or something that was bothering you. But to start 57 consecutive games, I mean, that says a lot about your intestinal fortitude.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like offensive line play, your body's not always going to feel amazing, and we got guys counting on you to the left and to the right of you, and just to be able to go out there with them and trust in them and have them be able to trust in me, I think is crucial.
I don't want to harp too much on your college career, but I mean, just in today's college landscape, really good prospects like yourself usually end up transferring to Bama or Oregon or anything like that. Did you have those opportunities?
Yeah, I had some schools reach out to me, and I turned them away pretty quickly.
Really?
South Dakota State did so much for me in developing me and making me who I am. I just kind of thought, who am I to leave these guys? They poured so much into me. I kind of owe it back to them. They helped build me into who I am.
And a couple of national championships don't hurt either.
It was, yeah, no. And
got pretty used to winning, I bet.
It was so much fun, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything, for sure.
Mason, you mentioned the fun. I don't know if there was anybody who I saw on the field Sunday night against the Jets who looked like they were having more fun out there than you were. You're windmilling after you guys get first downs. You're out there just having fun. I mean, it is still just a kid's game, isn't it?
It is at the end of the day. Football is a game that I've always loved and, enjoyed playing. And so I'm going to celebrate the small victories, and that's kind of the way offensive linemen are. We do a lot of this behind the scenes work and stuff, and to be able to get a 4th down and 1 on a 4-minute drill to kind of close the game out is pretty exciting for us.
You just got to get one of the guys who score a touchdown to let you spike the ball like Dan Moore got to spike the ball. I mean, that's an offensive lineman's dream, right? You want to spike the football.
I mean, spiking the football would be fun, but just getting in the end zone is enough for me.
Mason, if I'm correct, you also have a center background. Is true?
Yeah, I've worked a lot of center in my career.
Okay, I thought so.
I was kind of our backup center. If anything were to happen to him, I would have moved over to center. And it's as long as you stay on top of it. It's kind of like riding a bike. You just get back into it.
Did NFL teams kind of cross-check you that way as a prospect?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to be able to see me snap the ball, and I did that a bunch. And yeah.
So you were team captain 3 years in a row at South Dakota State?
Yes, sir. Yep.
You were named the most valuable or co-offensive most valuable player at South Dakota State. You won 2 national championships. You won a high school state championship. Super Bowl, right? That's the next one you got to check off.
Yeah, I actually got second in high school.
Oh, I thought it was first. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Super Bowl is obviously the goal we're pushing towards here, and I feel like we got the guys to do it.
Mason, you guys have such a young offensive line room. What does Isaac mean as kind of a leader in there?
He means a ton.
I bet.
He's seen so much football, and he's got such a high football IQ, and he's also a really, really good player. And so being able to have him and be able to bounce questions off him is definitely crucial for a lot of us.
It's been really you guys have started now 5 different offensive line combinations in your first 7 games. You've had 4 guys make their first career start already this season. You're not supposed to be 5-2. Do you ever take a step back at this point and go, "This isn't supposed to be happening"? It's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be seamless. Does it kind of speak to the job that Pat Meyer has done, getting you guys ready to play like this?
I think it definitely does. He's done a tremendous job. I mean, I can speak for myself. Coming from South Dakota State, I had some things to learn, and he taught me exponentially quick. And I'm going to keep getting better and better, and just having trust in him. But the tools and things he's given me has allowed me to grow into this player I'm becoming, and he's going to keep pushing me in the future.
Mason, how much Dexter Lawrence have you watched this week, and what kind of challenges does he provide?
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of tape every week, but Dexter Lawrence is one hell of a player, and it's going to be a fun challenge, and I look forward to it.
Well, we'll let you get back to that, Mason. I know you got a busy work week here, but we appreciate you dropping by and talking to us on the drive. Let me just say this. So Beanie Bishop was on the show last week, and Beanie goes out and gets 2 interceptions. So now that means you might get to spike the football on Sunday. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there.
I hope that's how it works.
I'm sure it is.
Absolutely. Our guest has been Mason McCormick, Steelers rookie right guard, starter at right guard. We appreciate him stopping by. I'm Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. This is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. We'll be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and before we had our chat with Mason McCormick there.
That was great.
He's good. He's a good guy to talk to. Most offensive linemen are.
They actually are, yeah.
Don't tell Wolf and Starks I said that.
You're right.
They have the pulse of the team.
They absolutely do. They do the dirty work. They're team guys, and you have to be smart at that position.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah. So the Patriots are 32.
They're horrible.
The Titans are 31.
They're really bad, too. The right side of the line has been a disaster this year.
Yeah. At 30 are the Saints.
Oh, they're so hurt. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's where they're at right now. And it wasn't a real strength to begin with.
29 is Seattle.
Okay. Now we're getting into ones you can live with a little bit. Yeah. Their interior is pretty rough.
28 is Cleveland. That's actually up 3 spots.
They have someone come back.
That has Willis and Conklin at the tackle positions, Batonio and Michael Dunn at the guards, and Ethan Posick at center. So they're starting to get.
There's 2 holes, right now.
And Teller just started practicing again,
okay.
So they're getting closer.
I actually think that team's trending in the right direction a little bit.
The problem,
they were bottom.
They were bottom. Yeah. At 27. This is down 4 spots, is Cincinnati. They're starting Cody Ford and Amarius Mims at the tackle positions.
Yeah, I know. So they're assuming the left tackle's out now too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Cody Ford's really a guard too.
I think he practiced yesterday, Orlando, or at least they expected to practice yesterday.
Okay.
We'll get more into that maybe in the fantasy football focus, but even so, that line's not been good.
No, they've invested a lot in it too. Like Kappa and those guys aren't great, but they've went out and got them.
At 26 is the Rams.
I know there's been a lot of injury. Where do they say their 5 are real quick?
Alaric Jackson, Justin Dedich, Bo Limmer, Kevin Dotson, Rob Havenstein.
Okay, there's 3 starters missing then.
Yeah.
I mean, the right side of the line is the only ones that should be out there.
The team the Steelers play this week, the Giants, are at 25. That's down 7 spots. Down 7 spots, mind you. They were at 18.
They allowed 8 sacks. I mean, they should be at least that low.
Yeah.
What do they say about him? Anything great?
No.
Well, I'm sure not. Right, yeah.
Nothing.
Did they call the name I can't pronounce as the left tackle?
Zidu, yeah.
Yeah. He played 3 snaps, I think, before getting thrust into action.
At 24 are the Steelers. So the Giants went into last week ranked considerably ahead of the Steelers. Not just a couple of spots.
Right.
They moved down 7 spots.
That's with Thomas.
They knew Thomas wasn't going to play last week.
Yeah, right. Zidu or whatever started the game, right? No, I'd much rather the Steelers than all those.
23 is Jacksonville. That's up 4 spots.
It's getting a little better, but not great.
Not great. 22 is Dallas. There's some lines that are up like don't make sense. 21 is the Raiders.
I'm not real impressed with the Raiders line either.
20 is the Chargers. They should be higher.
They should definitely be higher. They're healthy now too.
19 the Falcons. They should be higher.
Run blocking is really good.
Yeah. 18 is Chicago.
Getting better.
17 is Arizona.
It hasn't been their problem. I wouldn't say it's above average, though.
16 is Minnesota. Minnesota really does.
Their tackles are great.
Great, and the interior guys aren't bad.
Right. Oh, you're saying they should be higher.
They should be higher.
Yeah, I think they're more like a top 10.
15 is the Texans.
Oh, they should be way lower.
They should be lower.
Like, their name value is great, but collectively they're playing
They've been
horrible.
Laramie Tunsil's been a...
I think he's hurt.
Yeah.
Because he must be.
Holding penalties, and he's the most penalized player in the league.
Yeah. I would say they're like the most penalized team. I think they're the most penalized line. They only can run the ball if Mixon's around. The protection hasn't been great.
And they
have some good players.
They're best. They put a best player down for each team. They put Tunsil down. Tunsil has always been among the best pass blocking offensive tackles in the NFL. His 2.2 pressure rate this season is a career best. But he's got like 10 holding penalties.
He's got holding penalties left and right. I bet he would tell you he's not having a good year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's fighting through something. And I think they're ready to replace at guard Kendrick Green taking over for the other Green, the first-round pick.
They have Kenyon Green in there.
No, I mean Kendrick taking over for Kenyon, the first-round pick, because he's been bad too.
14 is San Francisco.
Yeah, they're right in the middle.
13 is Miami.
Oh, I'd be way lower on that. I'd be way lower on that. I'd take the Steelers over Miami.
Without a doubt. 12 is the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Not where they used to be. Malata's out, too. So you don't have Kelsey, you don't have Malata.
11 is the Commanders.
Oh, they're playing way better than that. They don't have name value, but like Cosme's one of the best guards no one's ever heard of. They're nasty as could be, too. They'll be a fun team to preview because Washington plays hard in the trenches. 10
is the Broncos.
I'm fine with that. They're heavy mashers, run guys.
Here's the thing, though. What I'm seeing here with these rankings are that the teams that do a lot of sideways passing.
Yeah.
Their offensive lines are pushed way up on this because they don't give up any pressures.
Mm-hmm. I often refer to Brandon Thorne when we talk O-line stuff, and he'll always weigh protection more than run, but particularly longer developing pass plays.
Yeah.
Like if all you do is quick game, I'll be an O-line.
They could put us,
right.
No big deal. At 9, the Ravens.
It's getting better and better. Stanley's back.
Yeah.
McCarry's helped.
Falele still stinks.
He's bad.
And Rosengarten still.
Yeah, problem.
The right side of that line is still not good.
Agreed. That's too high, but it's better than it was at the beginning of the season.
Here's where 8 is the Jets.
Ooh, we just saw that. Like they have names.
But they're not good.
Picks, and they allow a lot of pressure, and the ball comes out super quick. They didn't run the ball well.
They didn't run the ball at all
year, really.
Yeah, Breece Hall still averaging like 3.7 yards a carry.
It's not his fault.
And you saw Breece Hall.
Right. No, I have a real problem with that one.
7 is the Bills.
Okay. They play a lot of 6-0 line. They've been healthy, from what I remember. It might be a little high, but they're top 10 probably.
6 is Carolina.
That's actually fine.
Yeah. They run the ball well for a team that isn't very good.
No, that's not their problem.
5 is the Packers.
Yeah, a lot better in protection than run game, and they're the perfect example of the whole being better than each part.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a Pro Bowler.
4 is the Colts.
I would probably have them in the top 2.
3 is Kansas City. Kansas City cannot be in a top 3 line starting Wanya Morris and Jawan Taylor at tackle. I'm sorry. They just can't be.
Right. They're the anti-Vikings.
Guys are liabilities.
They're the anti-Vikings.
You can't have your offensive tackles cannot be complete liabilities.
It's a big reason Mahomes isn't having a Mahomes year.
He's getting rid of the ball's coming out so fast.
Doesn't trust the edge protection at all. And the interior is great, but the edges are bad. 2
is Tampa Bay.
They've really gone a long way. Graham Barton and
they ran the ball well last week against Baltimore.
And Wirf's a stud.
Yeah,
they're a top 5 for sure.
And then 1 is Detroit.
Yeah, I think we agree on that. I'd have the Colts probably 2.
There's no way on God's green earth that the Jets' offensive line is number 8.
That's one of the worst. I would have it like 22.
Yeah,
I liked all their players at one point of their process, but you watch them. We studied them. We saw the game live. They allow a lot of pressure, and they don't run block well.
And they don't hold the ball. Like, they're getting the ball out quickly.
Right,
and Rodgers is still – the Steelers had more hits on Rodgers last week than the Jets did against the Steelers.
Yeah. And Rodgers, again, sacks are quarterback things, too. He knows where it's coming from. It's not like this is new to him. He's not a rookie running around with like a chicken with his head cut off. No. The line's not doing him any favor.
Yeah. And once again, I'm questioning the Pro Football Focus grading system. Go the surprise there.
O-line and coverage are the ones I always grade.
Which brings me to they put out Pro Football Focus tweeted this out today. Their top 3 cornerbacks in the league in terms of not allowing separation. Joey Porter was number 2.
Okay.
But when you look on their grading system, Joey Porter's the 89th graded cornerback in the league, and the 3rd of the 3 Steelers cornerbacks who play.
He's number 3 of them.
He's number 3 between Beanie Bishop and Dante Jackson. He is last among those guys.
But he doesn't allow any separation.
Doesn't allow any separation, and nobody throws at him.
Yeah, and he guards the opponent's best receiver every week. Other than that,
he sucks.
There's 88 other guys
he's terrible.
better. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, coverage stuff and O-line stuff to me, I have a hard time with.
Yeah, atrocious. Anyways, let's get to a break. That's going to do it for hour number 1 of the drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt and I will be back with hour number 2 right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And, of course, you can hear The Drive every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Not next Monday because the Steelers have a home game. Well, even if they were on the road, we wouldn't do a show. But it's a Monday night game, so there's no show on Monday. But, of course, you can download all the shows on the on demand. You can listen to them on the Steelers official mobile app. And you can also watch the show on YouTube, which we also appreciate and like to check out the comments on there. And I did have a question in the comments from yesterday's show, Matt. Somebody asked me, they have 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
Tonight.
Kirk Cousins. And who was the other one?
Baker. I remember you mentioned it at
Baker
lunch.
Mayfield. Asked me.
Those two are playing each other, right?
Yeah. No, Baker and Cousins are playing each other.
Yeah.
And they asked me which one I would start. So I immediately eliminated Baker.
With the receiving situation.
Just can't do it.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Is he cuttable in like a 12-team league? I don't know about that yet.
No, Evans will be back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So
they could trade for a guy, too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, because they want to throw the football.
Oh, and they were good at it.
Yeah. So I can't start him this week.
No.
Cousins did throw for 500 yards against Tampa Bay a few weeks ago, but I just don't know that he's going to have to do that this time around. And typically, if the first meeting between 2 division teams was high scoring or low scoring,
a lot of times it's
the second time it goes the other way.
They're just complete coaching change.
Yeah. Well, that didn't work, so let's do this.
Do something totally different. So you go. Is your answer Darnold?
My answer was Darnold. Yeah.
think I'm leaning towards Cousins just because short week on the road. But the Rams D isn't very.
It's not very good, and I think the Rams getting Cooper Kupp back tonight, which they are, means their offense should challenge Minnesota a little bit more. Meaning the Vikings are going to have to score a little bit more.
It's definitely down to those two for me. I mean, I think Jefferson goes crazy tonight.
Yeah, and if you think Jefferson's going to go crazy,
that's my point, right?
Yeah,
and Hawkinson's ruled out. That's not a big enough deal for a quarterback sit or start. Neither one really runs. They're about the same.
They're about the same. Yeah, I would agree.
I'm battling Anthony Richardson, Tua, or Drake May.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going with Tua.
I would go with Tua just because
I have Waddle and maybe they can connect, or
something.
Richardson could really floor out though.
He's unstartable at this point.
I think. Yeah, he needs to start completing more passes. But I'm not going to drop him.
Looking at this week's injury report, or today's injury report, I should say, Aaron Rodgers with that knee and hamstring still limited in Thursday's practice.
He looks beat up. I mean,
we said that going into the game that he was beaten up, and the Steelers didn't do him any favors.
No,
they only had one sack, but they hit him a bunch.
He's unstartable too.
Yeah,
I mean, he might be close to being cuttable.
Ramondre Stevenson was a full participant in practice today with the foot injury.
Okay, he's had a pretty good year.
Yeah. Puka Nacua, activated off of IR, could be limited for Thursday Night Football. I don't think they bring him back for this one.
So he hasn't practiced for though.
No.
I don't think he has any practice time, so he's not playing tonight.
But they did activate him. Well, I think he was limited earlier in the week, and then they activated him off of IR. And they planned. Well, this according they planned to play him in this game.
Oh, so they're going to get both receivers in this game?
But he's not going to. I can't imagine he plays a lot.
I wouldn't start him.
No, I wouldn't start him either.
I'd start Kupp.
Yeah, I'd definitely start Kupp.
Okay. Yeah. But I wonder if the Rams are looking at this like, if we win tonight, we're going to hang on to our guys. And, and if we lose tonight, we got a long week to figure this thing out and see what we can get for Kupp.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be their third win, I think.
Yeah. They would. Yeah. No, well, wait. No, they'd be two. No, they did win. They won last week, so that'll be their third win. So, yeah, I mean, technically, they'd be a game back.
That's not crazy. Yes. Right. You could still even win that division.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They're a game back in the division.
Yeah, right.
Jalen Waddle with the quad, limited again on Thursday.
Okay. Just when you thought, I mean, again, I own him in both leagues and been sitting on the bench the whole Tua time. I'm not going to cut him. But now you're excited to play him again.
And you may not be able to do it. Tua Tagovailoa upgraded to a full participant on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So it looks like he still has to be cleared in the concussion protocol, but that's certainly trending in that direction.
Sure, it's been a while.
How about this, though? Tyreek Hill with a foot issue added to the injury report on Thursday.
Wow, I was about to say, well, if Waddle doesn't go, Tyreek's going to go insane.
He also was limited.
Okay. They just keep these guys in bubble wrap or whatever? I don't know.
I don't know. It's not good, though.
If they don't have those guys, their season's over.
Jaden Daniels missed practice again on Thursday with that rib injury. I don't think he plays this week.
No, I don't either.
Travis Etienne with the hamstring, limited on Thursday.
It's good for Bigsby. I mean, that was about to get kind of...
I don't think he practiced yesterday. So
Bigsby?
No, Etienne.
Oh, Etienne,
so
okay.
He's trending in the right direction.
Oh, I got you. Okay. It muddies the waters a little bit if he's back.
Evan Ingram upgraded to a full participant on Thursday.
Yeah, he's looked good. He's ready to roll.
Gabe Davis limited again on Thursday. Jaden Reed with an ankle injury limited on Thursday.
Is that new?
That's a second straight practice he has been limited.
Okay.
Jair Alexander with a groin limited on Thursday for them.
Okay, that's a big deal for them.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Christian Watson with the ankle limited on Thursday.
Okay. Dub seems like he's the guy you can count on.
He's the guy that's healthy.
Yeah.
T.J. Hawkinson is not playing tonight, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But how about this one?
I assume he plays next week, though.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor upgraded to a full participant on Thursday.
Yeah, I think Buckner was too. So, there's some good news in Colt land.
As is Michael Pittman.
Okay.
And Josh Downs. So they're getting the band's getting back together.
Yeah. Again, Richardson needs to complete passes, but at least they're healthy. They have a good line,
Yeah, he needs to complete passes. Dalton Kincaid limited again on Thursday with that collarbone injury.
Is he still a top 10 tight end?
No.
I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
So he's been passed.
Like you starting Hunter Henry over him or Kate Otten or those type of dudes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Dallas Goedert with the hamstring, again, did not practice on Thursday.
I'm not expecting him to play.
Jatavian Sanders with the groin and wrist was limited on Thursday. That's 2 days in a row for him.
He's the guy they want to play.
Yeah. The problem is that Young is going to be the quarterback now, and I have no idea if he's going to throw Jatavian Sanders the football or not.
I mean, he's a watch list guy.
Yeah, because Dalton had been throwing him the football a little bit.
Yeah. It was kind of appealing, but I'm not ambitious at all about their passing game.
Deontay Johnson with that rib injury did not practice on Thursday.
Okay. Still not ambitious about their passing game.
Adam Thielen with the hamstring, limited on Thursday.
Their offense can be okay if the quarterback is capable.
Yeah, but
that's a big
might be a big ask.
Yeah.
Jonathan Brooks, limited on Thursday.
I don't think he's going to get activated this week.
I don't think so
next
either.
Week.
Jalen Polk with a concussion did not practice today.
He's been bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he looked like a high floor, low ceiling prospect, but he's been a low floor.
The floor
a lot of drops.
Really,
yeah.
The floor is actually the floor.
Low. Yeah.
Alan Lazard with a chest injury, missed practice on Thursday.
Okay. But Williams would be the 3, I assume.
I guess. I mean, he's still on the team.
If he's still on the team.
Yeah. And
I'm still shocked he's little shocked he's still on the team.
Lazard still got some passes last week, even though
the
the
other,
other,
that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
The other guys were still very involved. They both got, I think, 9 targets each.
It's not a fantasy unfriendly offense.
Yeah.
It's not a great offense, but they get the ball to the people you want to get the ball to.
With no bye weeks this week, though, you can't start Lazard anyways.
No, you something better than that.
Yeah, I would hope so. But there might have been some people, because he had the 5 touchdown passes, really leaning on him early in the season. And
I wouldn't keep that up.
So this one's interesting. Brandon Aubrey, who's one of the better kickers in the league, has jury duty this week.
Really?
Yes.
I've never heard of that.
He has jury duty this week, and the Cowboys have a plan for him to be available on Sunday.
I mean, at least it's a kicker.
But he hasn't kicked all week. He's sitting in a courtroom somewhere.
I'd still trust him than
I get it.
Anyone off the
but
street.
It's just a weird situation.
Well, it's an extremely weird situation. What if Dak Prescott got jury duty? Does Jerry make a call and make sure he doesn't?
Maybe. I don't know.
There's a lot of people in the league, and I've been following this league a long time, and I've never heard
I don't
someone
ever remember somebody having jury duty
miss
during
time
the season.
for jury duty.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you would think you'd be able to get out of that.
Maybe because you're a kicker, you can't get out of it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You don't do anything anyways. You'll be fine.
Micah Parsons with
Are they home or away?
I have no idea.
I wonder if he's like on the team flight.
They're in San Francisco.
Yeah, they're in San Fran.
Yeah. Micah Parsons with that ankle injury has not yet passed the return to play threshold.
Getting almost to that 4-week mark, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a loser leave town match, but it's really important for both those teams.
Yeah, getting close.
Playoff hopes.
Who do you like in that game? I guess we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But
I haven't given it a ton of thought, but probably the Niners.
Naheem Hines, he had his 21-day practice window open, but he was unable to return. He is out for the season.
Is he a Bill?
No, I think he was with the...
He was a Colt for a while.
I thought he was with Washington, maybe.
Okay, I thought he'd gotten that unfortunate water accident, the jet ski accident with the Bills.
Yeah, and I think then they cut him.
Yeah, drafted Ray Davis.
Yeah. Mike Evans, MRI, confirms that he will be out at least 4 weeks, which just happened to line up with their bye week.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's the goal, but it sounds like it could be worse. You can't cut him, though, if you own him.
No, you can't cut Mike Evans because he's coming back in 4 weeks. You just got to eat it.
You just got to eat it, yeah. Small rosters are tough like that.
Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs placed Sky Moore on injured reserve. Yeah. He just hasn't.
Coincidentally happened to sign or trade for Hopkins. Too.
Yeah.
Moore's been a disappointment. I did not see that coming.
I didn't either. Bucky Irving with the toe injury did not practice again on Thursday.
Yeah, that's good for the
other two guys.
The other two, right. The other two are usable then. Really good for White, I would think.
Yeah. Quentin Johnston, now we're getting into some of the West Coast stuff, with the ankle injury, did not practice again on Wednesday. But
did he play last week?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Joey Bosa with the hip was limited on Wednesday. Lab McConkey with the hip missed practice on Wednesday.
Bosa's been out since the Steeler game, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's when he injured the hip.
Yeah.
He's hurt a lot.
But Lab McConkey.
McConkey's a guy I have faith in.
Yeah, but he missed practice yesterday.
Okay.
It's a hip issue for him.
Yeah, but it's a Wednesday, so.
We didn't talk about this guy. Will Dissly with the shoulder did not practice on Wednesday. Will Dissly had like 6 catches for like 70 yards.
They used him a lot, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a game-specific thing or...
It could have been we've seen teams utilize the tight ends to go, and they've gone off against the Cardinals in the past.
Yeah. Like for years, it seems like.
Yeah. But I just kept watching that game, and I'm like, Will Dissly is catching all these... Like this...
It is worth bringing up. Like, I'm sure people are like, why are we talking about Will Dissly? He shouldn't be in our league. Well, the Chargers did nothing in this offseason except get Will Dissly.
Yeah.
Like that was important.
That was their big get in the passing game.
That was the only thing they did in free agency. And yes, he's a good blocker and they run the ball, but they must like him a lot. And they don't have any other receiver. They don't have other receivers. Yeah. What if McConkey's out? Johnston's out. They don't have anybody to catch the ball. Yeah.
So Will Dissly.
I would watch list him, something like, pay attention to him.
Yeah, it's not the worst idea. I'm not seeing much else here, but definitely Patrick Surtain with a concussion did return to practice yesterday for the Broncos.
Step one for them.
That is step one for that. And
they have the Saints. I assume he'd have Olave. No, they don't have the Saints. That was last week.
That was last week, yeah.
They have somebody easy, though.
Their schedule was ridiculously easy.
Yeah, they're a nice defense to hold because they get some easy ones.
Yeah. He's good regardless of whoever he's playing against, but just makes them better. Anybody that you like in tonight's game?
We talked about Darnold a fair amount. Would you do? How about this, Darnold or Stafford?
Stafford has been unstartable. He's got 3 touchdown passes
all
year.
About touchdowns. They run the ball.
He's got 3.
I know. I think he's not going to run. But they run the ball into the end zone.
The gang is back together now.
Right. I was going to say, if both his receivers are there, I still would start Darnold.
It's a bit of a leap of faith. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
We were willing to do that last week with our DFS lineup, but that didn't work out.
You're starting Williams, you're starting Jones, both the backs. You're starting Kupp, you're starting Jefferson.
You're not starting Nakua, though.
No.
We'll put it this way. Would you rather start Jordan Addison or would you rather start Nakua?
Addison, and I'm not even an Addison fan.
Yeah.
I just
that's
think
why
he's
I
going
asked
to be
you
very
that.
limited.
Yeah.
Maybe next week screams Nakua, with or without Kupp. Tight ends, no. Defenses are okay. Vikings D, you're going to start. I think they win by 10 or so.
Yeah. Surprised that line was as low as it is.
I would think they get sacks and do good things. Yeah, Vikings D. Rams D's a no.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not a terrible game. Vikings are fun to watch.
Not the worst game. No. Yeah, for a Thursday night special. But, there's going to be some fantasy-relevant guys in this game for sure.
Mm-hmm. There were rumors that the Vikings were calling about Stafford. I don't believe any of that.
I don't believe it
for
a second.
To me at all.
Yeah.
I think things are good.
I think people looked at it and said, "Well, where could Stafford go?" And it's
there's nowhere.
O'Connell was with him, and so therefore, so you're just connecting the dots, and
I don't think there's a good landing spot.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, right. I think it's an off-season thing, or they win and they just ride it out.
Yeah, I think that's much more likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And I'm not convinced he's going to be the Rams starting quarterback next year. I can see a total rebuild, especially if they have a top 5 pick, but the Vikings make no sense to me at all.
None.
There's a lot of cup spots that make sense.
Absolutely. Anyways, that's going to do it for the Fantasy Football Focus. Let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We'll be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And, Matt, I thought we'd take a look here at Nick Shook's quarterback index this week here. And let's see where Russell Wilson comes in at after his first start.
His first one.
So at 32, he still has Deshaun Watson because he should have put Jameis Winston.
Yeah, so I thought it was upcoming starters.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, well.
Wanted to rub it in a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
One last shot of Deshaun Watson at 32. We'll see where Jameis comes in after his first start this weekend. At 31, Tyler Huntley.
And he's not going to start this week either.
He won't start either. So the bottom 2 guys aren't starting. Yeah. The bottom 3 guys aren't starting this week because 30 is Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, he's hurt, right.
He placed on IR this week.
I guess he's doing last week's.
Yeah. 29, he won't start this week. That would be Andy Dalton.
Yeah, he got benched too.
He didn't get benched. He's got a sprained thumb.
Okay.
After the car
good
accident.
opportunity to get Young back
Absolutely.
in there, right.
28, we finally get to somebody who will start this week.
Okay.
And that is Spencer Rattler.
I mean, I don't know if he's better than Dalton or whatever, but he is playing. I think he could be 32 next week.
He might be. Yeah.
Not that he's terrible. He's just in over his head in a bad
situation.
situation.
Might be young again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good.
There's some
good competition
Minshew
there.
will be down there too, probably. So At 27, Mason Rudolph.
He had a rough go. The protection's bad.
The protection is
Mojo's bad.
Yeah. They did jump out to a lead in that game.
Yeah. I don't like where the Titans are at all right now.
No. 26, Bo Nix.
He's getting a little better.
Here's the thing. He has started 7 games in the NFL and is averaging 5.6 yards per attempt.
Oh, I know. I mean,
5.6 yards per attempt.
I know.
He could underhand the ball 5.6 yards.
His numbers are really bad, and he's had a lot of low lights. I just think he's getting a little more comfortable. I mean, he looks really bad at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Well, 25 is the quarterback the Steelers will face on Monday night. That is Daniel Jones.
I think that's where he is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even if we were ranking opening day starters where they are right now, not injuries and all that, he's 25 or maybe lower.
Maybe lower. At 24, unranked going into last week, this is how bad Daniel Jones has been. Anthony Richardson comes in at 24.
I'd much rather play against Jones.
He's completing 48.5% of his passes in today's NFL.
Yeah. It's
horrendous.
It's horrendous. It's hard to believe that it's that low.
3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 4 fumbles. This is the thing when we talk about that Colts game. The best thing that happened to the Colts in that game was Anthony Richardson getting hurt.
Yeah.
Because if Anthony Richardson if he stays in that game, the Steelers win it.
I like their chances a heck of a lot better.
Because I don't think the Colts scored the 10 points that they got in the second half. As we've seen,
right.
The Steelers' defense is giving up 5.1 points per game in the second half of seasons. 10 of them came in that game against Flacco.
Yeah. The veteran quarterback. That's what's giving them a hard time, like him and Dak.
Rodgers, not so much.
No, Rodgers, not so much.
At 23, up 6 spots this week because everybody else stinks, Drake May.
He's fun. I'm excited about him. He's got a long way to go. And he's a roller coaster, and there's nobody blocking for him or catching the ball well.
Yeah. At 22, up a spot, Trevor Lawrence.
I would be higher. I mean, he started the season really rough. It's been a rough year, but he's clearly the best one we've talked about.
Is he better than number 21, Jalen Hurts?
He's been bad. I would say yes, he's better than Hurts right now.
Is he better than number 20, Justin Herbert?
No. Herbert was really good this week. He was injured from the beginning of the year. That's too stats driven. If you watch Herbert, he's still really good.
He's not even averaging 200. He had a
They don't throw much.
He had a 300-yard passing game last week, and in 6 games he's not even averaging 200 yards per game.
Yeah, I know.
At 19, Caleb Williams.
Gradually moving up too. He was a nightmare early on.
That's holding steady for him.
Okay. Yeah, he's treading the right direction though for me.
At 18, unranked last week, Russell Wilson.
That's fair. That's fair. He shouldn't be in the top 10.
No, I'm not saying he should
right.
be. But one thing that we have said consistently over the last 3 seasons since Ben Roethlisberger retired, if the Steelers get quarterback play that is at this level.
I mean, right in the middle of the league.
Right in the middle of the league.
Right.
If they get average quarterback play, they are a contender with this defense and running game.
Yeah, if that keeps up, if he ends the season at 18 or 16, I would take it, and I bet the Steelers win a playoff game or make noise. You know? Yeah.
So, I mean, here's what Nick Shook had to say. It took him nearly a full half of football last Sunday night, but Wilson rediscovered some of his powers in his first start as a Steeler. Namely, it was his finesse on touch passes, which Wilson used to give big play artist George Pickens multiple chances to make a difference. Pickens delivered, creating a few highlights and catching Wilson's first touchdown pass with Pittsburgh. Wilson kept the good vibes going in the second half, lofting another perfect touch pass to Pat Freiermuth, who made a one-handed grab to help the Steelers move toward another eventual touchdown. Wilson capped a 31-point run with one more touchdown pass to Van Jefferson, taking what started as an uneasy night and turning it into a romp that justified Mike Tomlin's decision to insert him into the lineup.
Pretty well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. As much good stuff as we saw from Justin Fields, he probably wasn't getting this high.
Probably not.
He wasn't leapfrogging Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert.
Right.
And we could argue about all that stuff. Maybe he gets past Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, the way he's playing, maybe. Right.
But
no, I'm with you. The thing he doesn't mention there, though, is all the mental stuff, the procedural stuff, getting in the right play, that kind of thing. I think that was night and day. To me, that's the best thing Wilson did.
Yeah. At 17, down a spot, Matthew Stafford.
Not throwing touchdowns, but it's been kind of a weird year for him.
He's 3 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions in 6 games. Now, maybe it will look different tonight since he's got his guys back.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, let's not be too critical of this
But the lack of mobility is an issue for him.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, like, if we were doing preseason ones, though, he might have been 6 for me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be like – and I haven't thought, man, he's had a terrible year, where you could say that about Hurts, Lawrence,
Yeah. At 16, up 2 spots, Aaron Rodgers. Based on what?
Yeah, in that game,
I thought Aaron Rodgers looked horrible Aaron Rodgers looked as bad as I've seen Aaron Rodgers look last week.
I thought so too. I think he's a little banged up. I don't think he likes getting hit. As we mentioned all last week, there's more lowlights than ever.
He's already thrown 7 interceptions.
Yeah, and that's not him.
He used to have whole seasons when he didn't throw 7 interceptions.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane seasons that way. Yeah, I would not. That's if you're going to ding Stafford.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like some of these
Give Stafford Aaron Rodgers weapons.
Right. Like
what he has had all season long.
Rodgers would be hurt or hurt.
Yeah.
In quotes, if he was with the Rams.
His feelings would be hurt.
Right. Throwing to Whittingham.
And his head would be spinning, and he'd be pointing fingers everywhere.
Yeah. Put Stafford on the Jets.
Be just fine.
Yeah.
At 15, down 2 spots, Kirk Cousins.
Okay. I don't think he's blowing my doors off. I mean, everyone remembers that 500-yard game, and that's great. But
that was 3 weeks ago.
That was a while ago, and he puts the ball in harm's way a lot.
Yeah, he's got 7 interceptions.
I
and
know
5
it's a
fumbles.
big number. 5 fumbles too.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's too many
in 7 games. I don't know how this guy moved up a spot. 14 is Kyler Murray. He
ran well, but
he's looked bad the last couple.
Right.
So this is the territory that Russell Wilson is in here. He continues to play like he played last week, or even better. Let's say he continues to play like he played in the second half of last week's game.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to move past these guys
if they all play like they've played.
If they continue to play like they played all season.
I mean, like Wilson was better than Rodgers on Sunday night.
Yeah, without a doubt.
No doubt.
Without a doubt. We'll see. I mean, it is a short sample size, but.
Yeah, if you can keep it up.
If you can keep that up, you could.
He also just didn't fall out of the sky, and we've never seen him play football before either.
No, he's certainly capable.
Yeah.
At 13, down a spot, Dak Prescott.
I bet there's not 12 quarterbacks I'd take over Dak Prescott, but I know that's not exactly what this exercise is. But he has no running game. His O-line to the bottom.
Let me just say one more thing about the Russell Wilson thing.
Yeah.
There's this idea that's mainly driven by the national media that he was somehow awful last year in Denver.
Right.
I would love to go back and look at this quarterback ranking from last year, and I'll bet he was right around the same 18, 19 range.
He was never in Watson land.
He was never in Watson land.
Yeah, I mean, no. It's funny that those two got traded the same year, and they're both big contracts, and it didn't work out for the team that traded for him. But they're not the same.
No.
Not even
No, one
close.
can actually play football, and the other one looks like he's ready to go play
right.
golf or something.
Yep, and is
anything but
bad,
football.
bad,
yeah.
right.
But I just don't understand some of the national hatred for Russell Wilson.
Like he's done.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think so.
At 12, down 3 spots, Brock Purdy.
What is maybe his worst game as a Niner.
And here's what's happening with Brock Purdy, and it's what we've kind of said all along.
Mm-hmm.
He is great in that system with other great players around him.
Yeah.
You start taking the great players away from him, and he's not an elevator.
That being said, I thought he was really good without McCaffrey for most of this year.
Yeah, but he still
And
had
McCaffrey-
Kittle, and he still had
right.
Ayuk and Debo.
No question.
Now you take those, and any quarterback would suffer in that situation.
Exactly. I mean, he's getting hit really hard by extenuating circumstances.
Unless you're talking about a Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Allen or those
some
guys.
of those guys.
Sure.
But he's, and that's going to be the conundrum that San Francisco has after this year when they got to pay him.
Is how you keep the Debos and Trent Williams and all that too.
Yeah.
Someone's going to go.
Someone has to go. Yeah.
Or you got to hit on those guys
because he's not going to be the cheap guy anymore.
No,
you can't pay him.
Like Miami has that issue.
Yeah, same thing.
Right.
You can't pay him $50 million.
They're gonna,
but they're going to have to keep him, and so therefore you're going to see them maybe come into the same sort of decision that the Rams made with Jared Goff, who we haven't even gotten to yet on this list.
Right.
Do we want to pay this guy? Do we think he is a guy that can take us to the next level, which he had already done?
Right.
Or do we want to try to find the next one?
Which is exactly what they did with Jimmy.
Yeah.
They traded up for Lance and totally lucked out and got this guy with Mr. Irrelevant because the Lance trade is as bad as the Watson or Wilson trade.
So that's what's going to be fascinating about this because they've already done it once.
Mm-hmm.
Do they feel like do they roll the dice? Well, we can find another Brock Purdy.
I get the thought process. Like if I can use all my resources on Trent Williams and really nice stuff, and I'm a good offensive coach like Shanahan or McVay, I get that thought process. But it's hard to work with that dude every day, groom him, and be like, all right,
see you.
Yeah, right. Best of luck. Don't let the door hit you.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Purdy's completion percentage this year is down.
They're playing totally different.
63.9%.
Their play action stuff's down. His average depth of target's way up. It's not. They're playing without McCaffrey.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of easy
running
completions.
backs don't matter.
They don't matter at all. And plus, Ayuk hasn't really been good.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been the chain mover.
He won't be good the rest of this year either.
No. They're in a weird spot. I just feel like it's not their year.
At 11, up 6 spots, Sam Darnold.
A little rich.
He was okay last week against Detroit, but he wasn't great.
He wasn't great. That's a little rich for me.
At 10, down 2 spots, Baker Mayfield.
That's had a really good year.
I thought he was awful
Awful.
He threw more hospital balls in that game than anybody, and got away with it.
He went down though, right?
Yeah, he went down 2 spots.
He's had a really good year. That was a bad
showing.
And I think he'll always have a game or two like that every year.
Yeah.
I think that's just who he is. He's so wound up and,
At 9, up a spot, Geno Smith.
He's a top 10 quarterback. I very much believe that. I think he's the most underrated guy in that list. I mean, 9's where he should be.
Yeah.
So it's not, I guess he's not underrated.
I think he's a free agent after the year.
Is he really?
I think so.
Sounds right when you
thought
said that.
But he's 34.
He's older, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Real quick, I heard a really good conversation about Darnold and Fields and Baker and all these guys that flopped to one place and go to a new place and matured and did better. And the same analyst who I really respect with quarterbacks said, Geno, the league just missed on him.
Yeah.
He missed these other teams or these other quarterbacks, they screwed it up. They were in bad situations. The league just undervalued Geno. Like he went to the Jets and they didn't know what he had. He's been good all along. Give Seattle credit. I thought they were insane when they traded Wilson. It was like, we're going to have Geno and Locke try out for the starting job. I'm like, are you just trying to lose every game?
Well, Locke is at 8, up 3 spots, Jordan Love.
He's a wild stallion, but boy, he's good and talented.
Yeah.
Coming into his own. Yeah. He makes some throws, man.
At 7, down a spot, Jaden Daniels. I don't know how I can move him down based off of him getting hurt last week.
Yeah. I don't know that he should be that high yet either, but
yeah. Like I'd rather
remarkable season.
I think Jordan Love.
I'd rather play against Jaden Daniels than Love.
At 6, down a spot, C.J. Stroud. The last couple of weeks haven't been good.
I don't blame him much, but he hasn't gotten better.
Yeah.
I mean, he's maybe 90% of what he was last year, and we talked about the O-line earlier in the show. It's been rough. losing Nico shouldn't hurt you that bad.
It shouldn't be a killer when you have,
considering what you have.
Yeah.
It's not like Jefferson being gone and you don't have anything else.
Right.
But he's a really good player.
At 5, up 2 spots, Jared Goff.
I think he's in MVP conversation.
He's been really good the last few weeks.
Rarely hits the ground. He doesn't throw picks.
He's averaging 9.3 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
Per attempt.
Unbelievably efficient.
Yeah. I mean, he's completing almost 74% of his passes.
Best he's ever played.
At 4, Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm. Not as much has been quite asked of him.
He still hasn't thrown an interception this year.
I know.
7 games in.
He's still my 2.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, I don't, whatever. 3 is Joe Burrow.
I would have Allen over Burrow, but Burrow's having a really good year.
He's having a good year as well.
Yeah.
2, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And 1 is Lamar.
I mean, Lamar's having a much better year than Mahomes, but everyone on the planet would take Mahomes. Of course.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
I get doing that, but I wouldn't do that. I don't know what Mahomes would have to do for me not to be 1.
I get it.
You know what I mean? But if he's not, that's what part of the problem with this list, and I would have the same problem if I did 32. If you leave Mahomes at 1, then shouldn't Herbert be 8 and Dak and Stafford be
You do have to factor
9?
in how they're
they're
playing right now.
Right. I mean,
bumping Mahomes to 2 seems like, oh my God.
Right.
But he's thrown 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
10 guys on that list have had a better year than him.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but we'd all take Mahomes.
It's why Aaron Rodgers is still 16 on this list.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, it's a career.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not playing like the 16th
If you're going
best.
to leave Mahomes at 2, then Stafford should be at 8.
Yeah.
You can't really have it both ways.
I mean, think about how this season started. I remember when we started putting these together, and Deshaun Watson's at 19. I'm like, that's way too high.
Mm-hmm.
He's done nothing the last 2 years to show that he's the 19th best quarterback in the league. That is a projection.
That's
based
not him
on,
having bad 6 weeks.
No.
That's him having a bad 3 years.
Right. So,
But again, I would have Mahomes 1. I mean, I get putting Lamar 2, where he was maybe 5 when I started the season, or 4, and digging some of these guys, moving up a Love. He had a small body of work coming in, But you're dinging some, not all-time great, well, kind of. I mean, you're dinging some real big body of work guys.
But then a guy like Jaden Daniels is 7.
Yeah,
and he was 6. And he was 6 last week. I
mean, he's been better than Mahomes this year.
Yeah.
But how do you rank those 2?
Right.
It's a hard exercise. There's no right answer for that.
Yeah. So that's where this at. And again, Russell Wilson being at 18 right now.
Mm-hmm.
If he has another game this week, like he had last week,
he'll be 15. Do it for a month, you'll be 12.
Right.
Right. That's what you're shooting for.
That's what you want. And again, as we said all along, if the Steelers get that kind of quarterback play, they are a legitimate threat.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, people are probably like, no way. I'm like, you've been playing with 25, 26, 27 for a long time. You know?
It's been below average for a long time.
Right.
You didn't throw touchdown passes for a long time.
Right. If you can get average or above, that's a step up for the whole franchise.
Yeah. And it lifts it makes the defense so much better.
Mm-hmm.
If the defense goes into a game knowing, hey, we don't have to hold this team to 15 or 16 or 17 points to win this game.
Yeah.
You can play a little more loose and maybe not necessarily be willing to make mistakes, but you're not as tight.
Right. I mean, you could be a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
And certainly it helps the offense coordinator. I mean, of course, that goes without saying. Giving me good players helps the offensive coordinator.
Right.
But just in terms of, man, I don't know if I should call that with this quarterback. Oh, I'm calling it for sure.
It's part of when people talk about the Steelers, well, they're not blitzing as much this year.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, they don't want to blitz or haven't wanted to blitz as much the last couple of years because they want to play coverage on the back end because,
just don't let the bomb.
Don't give up the big play because
right.
we don't have the offense that can
counter that.
Come back from that.
That's a Tyson punch to the face.
Yeah, now you might. That changes how you play defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been giving this a lot of thought. It's a whole different subject, the blitz stuff. It's like if you can get home with 4, as they have for much of the year, great. But one way to get Watt on singled up is bring Landon Roberts right next to him.
Right up the middle, yeah.
Right.
I mean, right now, I think they got 15 sacks for the season.
Yeah. right around there.
It's not what you would expect from the Steelers' defense.
No.
So you're not getting there with the 4.
You're not the
because
last 2 weeks either, right?
The last couple of weeks. I mean,
Right.
you have 2 sacks the last 2 games. You're not getting there with the 4.
And if you're not against the Giants, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That would be an alarm bell to me because I do think it's the best D-line in the league.
I do too.
And I don't think they're playing badly.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I mean,
they're not getting
the
sack
run
results.
defense has been outstanding.
Yeah, and they get pressure and they influence the game a great deal. Watt's the best example ever. But you could get more sacks with those type of pass rushers.
Yeah. You just have to be willing to do it, and maybe you will be more willing to do that knowing that your offense, hey, we're not limited to 20 points.
Or you're playing with a lead.
Where you're playing with a lead.
Yeah.
So let's get to a break. That was Nick Shook's quarterback index ranking on NFL.com. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. Matt and I will be back to finish up the show right after this. You can join former members of the Black and Gold for the Kids Flag Football Clinics at North Strabane Park on Saturday, November 9th. Instructors include Mike Logan and Roosevelt Nix, plus Kayla Pierce from the Pittsburgh Passion. Registration for your school-age child is free. Go to the calendar page at dve.com to sign up today. Kids Flag Football Clinics are brought to you by U.S. Steel, S&T Bank, Millie's Truck Pittsburgh, and South Hills Auto. This is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio, and I am Dale Lolley. He is Matt Williamson. And, Matt, the Steelers will face the last 3 winners of the Coach of the Year award in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
This season.
Okay. Oh, this season.
Twice in Cleveland.
Yeah. Right.
And Brian Daboll this weekend won it 2 years ago. Mike Tomlin's never even, I don't even think he's finished top 3 in that
I
voting.
don't know about that. I know he's never won it.
Could this be the year?
I was thinking that too. When you use 2 different quarterbacks is a real,
eye catcher.
Yeah. You go 4-2 with the backup, and then you get better with the next guy potentially.
Yeah,
that would go a long way. I think people need to recognize too that blocking kicks, winning tight games.
It's coaching.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a trend with him and this organization that all the analytics, they're going to regress to the mean, but they never do. I mean, some of those, 31 other teams do, but they don't. Maybe there's something to this.
Maybe they know what they're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would also, there's basically a front office person of the year as well. Okay. I see a lot of people complaining about Omar Khan. Well, I can't believe Omar Khan hasn't gotten a wide receiver yet.
That's like the only complaint I've heard, though. Everyone else loves every move he makes.
Look at what he's done with the wide receiver or with the quarterback position. I think they've handled this amazingly well.
Considering that they paid nothing for either.
They paid nothing.
That's remarkable.
The guys that you've added on that defense, the guys that you've added just across the board.
The Porter draft class.
The draft,
really, really good.
This draft class is
it's just injured at the moment, though.
The moment, but right. Frazier's been maybe the best offensive lineman in this draft.
I was thinking the first rounder's not around, so it's hard to judge this class, of course.
But you're starting 2 rookies on your offensive line.
Yeah,
at this point,
our friend of the show at right guard,
Mason McCormick, who was on with us earlier, and Frazier, who should be back after the bye week.
Mm-hmm. I think both those guys are long-term starters at those positions
absolutely.
too.
And you got them both in the same draft, and then you had Fatanu.
You might have built the whole right side of your line in one draft, right?
In one draft,
absolutely. And who knows? Books certainly not written on Roman Wilson and some others too. Broderick Jones' pick is looking questionable at the moment, but that book's not written either.
No.
Who are other Coach of the Year candidates? I've really given this little thought.
I guess McDonald in Seattle would have to be.
It's not bad.
Would have to be.
I bet if we were on Chiefs audio network, we might be like.
But you're expected to do that.
I know.
That's the thing that's why you don't win.
Belichick and Noel and all those guys.
That's part of the argument though for Tomlin. When the season opened this year, their over/under win total was 7.5.
But that's always hurt Tomlin. It's like, oh yeah, well, you're another winning season.
Yeah,
you guys are good.
7.5 though was one of the lowest win totals for any team this year.
I brought up the Chiefs.
It bumped up to 8. Everybody bet it because it went up to 8.5. But it opened way too low, and that's
Vikings are a candidate.
The Vikings are certainly a candidate.
Yeah, they're probably the leader in Vegas right now. Would be my hunch.
Yeah.
How about the Packers? I know there's some teams with high expectations.
But the expectations were there.
Yeah, but the Malik Willis thing looked pretty darn good.
So they went 2-0. Tomlin went 4-2 with his backup.
Yeah, but Fields a lot better player than Willis. I mean,
I get it.
I mean, that's a nice feather in their cap. I would think Minnesota's 1, Pittsburgh's 2. I mean, unless I'm missing somebody. Chargers look better, but they don't look like
they're not going to be good enough to.
I mean, they'd have to get in the playoffs to even be considered.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go Baltimore or Detroit or these teams that are top of the power ranks.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit was expected to
Washington?
be good. Maybe.
I mean, you talk about no expectation. They're kind of like this year's Texans.
Yeah.
I think he was runner-up last year in Houston.
And he should have won it last year.
I thought he should have won it, too.
I mean, it shouldn't even been a question.
Right. Tomlin's case is as strong as those ones, though. I think those are the top 3, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Minnesota.
Yeah.
Seattle's probably 4, something like that. Yeah.
But just, guys, Chuck Noll never won it.
Right. I think Belichick didn't either.
Cowher won it his first year because, again, the expectations were low.
They didn't know he was a good coach yet.
Yeah.
We don't give that award to the good coaches, right? It's a weird thing.
I mean, Stefanski's won it twice, and there's a good chance he gets fired after this season.
Real good chance. And Daboll,
he may not even make it through the season.
I'm not sure Daboll's going to be around either.
Well, they've already said they came out and
right.
said that those guys are safe.
Yeah. Well,
so
I hear you, but man, Tomlin's got a good case.
I think Omar Khan's got a good case for GM of the year.
I'd have to think about that one. I mean, who else had really good off seasons and draft classes? Washington might be another one.
Washington might be one.
It's nice when you pick 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing I always
and that's
get
the
right.
difference, yeah.
It's like the Kevin Colbert argument.
Yeah.
Like when you average like the 25th pick in the draft, your whole career as a GM, and you still build awesome rosters, and you don't get to take Cam Newton and Patrick Peterson that year, you get Cam Hayward, and you're just as happy that you're picking later. You know, like, you see what I'm saying? Like that's, or TJ Watt. You know, you don't get Myles Garrett that my sister could have picked. You get TJ Watt, who's just as good at the end of the round. Like now you're talking.
It's a little different.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just think that if the Steelers, and maybe this is just some recency bias because they've scored 30-plus points their last 2 games, but they look like a legit contender right now.
Yeah. I mean, the second half of the season could be a total opposite.
It's much tougher teams. I get it.
No question. But this is what you want.
This is what you positioned yourself for. If they win on Monday night, they're 6-2 going into the bye.
Going into the bye. And then you're 4-1 in the conference. You're tied for first in the division. You still have a bunch of home games. You should be getting healthier. Sutton comes back. You know who your starting quarterback is.
You'll get Frazier back. You'll get
If you look at it like 2 different seasons, you come into season number 2 pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Herbig, unless something terrible happens Monday night. But yeah, I like where you're entering season 2. Yeah,
you've positioned yourself, and again, NFL coaches always break things down into quarters. Now there's the extra, there's a little overtime now at the end of the season,
right?
But through 4 quarters, you'd be 6-2. You'd take that every time.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I bet they regret both those games because I think they were winnable.
They were winnable games.
And I think I was on last night talking to Tom and Tim that if they replayed them, the Colts or Dallas this week, I'd pick the Steelers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, what could have been. You lose games in this league.
You lost them both by 3 points.
Exactly.
I mean, and you screwed them up.
Mm-hmm.
You screwed them up. It's not that those teams did anything spectacular. You screwed them up.
I think you're better than both those teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you should be 8-0. That's how the world works. It's not how
that's
the league
not the
works.
NFL.
Right.
And I like, you picked the Steelers to win every week. Well, I have this year because I thought that they were the better team every week that they played. I won't do that in the second half.
Right. You're supposed to do that in the Raider week, or right. I mean, if they have the Panthers this week, I'm going to take the
Steelers. Yeah.
Right.
When they're playing in Cincinnati, I'll probably take Cincinnati. When they're playing in Baltimore, I'll probably take Baltimore.
I haven't given it deep thought, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick them this week too.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, right.
You see the team enough that you're around it enough that you have a pretty good feeling about where they're at. But anyways, that's going to do it for our show today. We'd like to thank Mason McCormick, Steelers guard, for coming on with us. He's now primed for a big week, a big game this week.
Oh, he's ready to blow up.
Beanie Bishop blew up.
He already had a
good
big week.
Yeah, he's going to have an even better week this week.
Yep.
They're going to shut Dexter Lawrence out. Dexter Lawrence will not have a sack because Mason McCormick.
Or a tackle.
Yeah, that's it.
That's us.
Yeah. Also, for my partner, Matt Williamson, For Justin Miller here running the Justin Miller hotline, and for Tyler Vittmeyer here making sure our video gets out onto the public airwaves for whatever reason you want to watch. I'm not gonna judge.
Yep.
I'm Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.